Lake Gatun is an invaluable artificial reservoir. In order to work properly, the Panama Canal relies on its water. But this past year, the lake's water levels have been dangerously low.
Right now we can see from this ruler that the water level is about 80 feet. These levels aren't normal. We experienced levels like this last year with the El Niño weather phenomenon, and back in 2015, 2016, when the El Niño phenomenon was severe.
To keep this maritime route open, the canal authorities first asked ship owners to lighten their loads.
When the lake level drops, there's less water beneath the ships, so they are not able to carry as much.
Every year, close to 12,000 ships cross the canal. But with authorised travel now down 30%, some carriers are opting to transport goods by rail, including the world's #1 in maritime freight, Maersk.
For the first time, instead of using ships that transit through the canal, in order to use the railroad, they turn the ships around, totally blocking transit. I think we're going to have several occasions where we're going to have to assist, rescue and help our shipping customers move those peak loads that would usually stay on board a ship.
But the canal remains Panama's economic lifeblood. And the company that runs it pays $2.5 billion to the government each year. It also provides drinking water to slightly more than half the country's population, a challenge as droughts are increasingly common.
Before, we had a drought every 15 or 20 years. Today, they come every 4 years or so. So it's important to make the canal sustainable in the long run. And so we have to develop projects that guarantee drinking water to the population. We've told the government that it's time to find other sources of drinking water so as not to continue extracting from the canal, because there's not enough. And the canal is an important source of income for the state.
To preserve the basin supplying the canal, scientists have been planting native species in this forest located near Lake Gatun since 2008 to study how water penetrates the soil.
So there has been this notion of the idea of a sponge effect. Can a forest, a tropical forest in a seasonal climate, absorb water during the wet season and release it slowly in the dry season? And the good news is we see the first indications of restoring that sponge just within 5 years.
But for this researcher, the lack of water in the basin can't be explained by climate change alone.
Being in such a water crisis can't be just because of the El Niño, because the lakes were full. And usually when the lakes are full, they have enough water to work the Panama Canal. One of the issues is that with the Neo-Panamax ships, they need to have the lakes at higher levels in order to allow for them to pass freely.
Inaugurated in 2016, these new Neo-Panamax locks allow for larger cargo ships. To ensure optimal canal activity, the company plans to build a dam on this river to retain more water in Lake Gatun. More than 2,000 people are expected to be displaced. Olegario Hernandez is one of them.
If they build the dam, everything will be flooded. That's why we're against it. It would harm us because we have animals here. Over there, I grow yucca, bananas, and rice. And I'm going to plant corn over there.
This 86-year-old farmer hopes that he will get a decent compensation before the waters wash away his life's work.
My farm isn't worth $7,000. It's worth $7,000 per hectare. They have $1 million business, but they don't want to pay. How much does a ship pay to pass? Millions, right?
This project will be put to the new Panamanian government for approval. The canal expects its activity to grow by around 15% as global maritime transport continues to increase.